Welcome to Shotgun Sports USA, powered by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Also brought to you by Ultimate Shooting Accessories, Sound Gear and Sound Gear Phantom, Comp and Choke, Clay Shooter Supply, and Clay Target Vision. In this episode, you're going to hear something totally different. We have 14 people coming on the show, and they are all part of the U.S. Open, which is coming up at Back Woods Quail Club in Georgetown, South Carolina. Every target setter will be on today, and some of the people that make a shoot as massive as the U.S. Open possible. In no particular order, please welcome our guests: Rick Hemingway, Eric Dorsey, Joe Skull, Jake Spangler, Mike Bashaw, John Snowden, Mike Oliver, William Joy, Mike Luongo, Evan Sharp, Dominic Bethel, Casey Chase, John Michael Morris, and Lauren Snowden. Rick, welcome to the show. We're going to talk about a big tournament that's coming up at your place here next month.
Absolutely. How you doing, Justin? Everything going all right on your end?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know,
good, buddy, good. Getting a little thunderstorm here. I guess you got there early today, so we get in now.
Oh, yeah. Tornado come through and just there's a neighborhood right up the street from it. Just destroyed it.
No good. No good. We've got tornado warnings or whatever it is where it's potential. The weather conditions are right for one in the area, but I'm hoping that we don't see any of them this evening. No, we're excited about the 2022 U.S. Open. It's been a long time coming. We put in for this event back in, I guess, 2019 and was awarded at the Advisory Council meeting or the Nationals when they had the annual meeting in October every year. And then with COVID, everything hit. Clay Thorne called and says, Rick, with everything going on, we don't know what's going to happen. Would you mind moving 22 and let us move to 21, which was my original year I was supposed to host it? And I said, no, I'll be happy to do so for you and my sake, to be honest with you. I was thinking like they were, later is better. Yeah. So it suited me just fine. But now the time's approaching us, and we're getting more and more excited to see everyone and have everyone visit the coast of South Carolina. And hopefully the weather will be good and we get to enjoy the beaches and the southern hospitality that we are able to provide, that we were planning on providing, and Mother Nature do her part, and we have some pretty weather, then I think that it's going to be a pretty good show, to be honest with you. It's going to be a big one. Right now, it's on pace to run somewhere about 100 to 120 more than ever been in a U.S. Open before, so that's good for the sport. It's good for the industry. We're excited about it. Of us having the largest one. Back when I started in 92, I guess it was 91, a little 10-station manual course. I never dreamed that I would be able to be this large. I read in the magazine back in the early days. There was no such thing as social media, so you read in the magazines each month where shoots were happening around the country, and I never dreamed that I would be one of them.
Yeah.
This 30 years later, that we would grow into a size operation that we have, and pretty proud of it and excited to show it off to all the shooters coming in town.
Rick, how long did it take? How long have you been planning for this? I guess since...
Well, Justin, I'm fortunate enough because I have been involved in the sport for 30 years, whether I was started off shooting as a competitor to where I started renting traps out to clubs that needed extra automated traps to ventured on into target setting, which I really never signed up for. But anyway, that's the way today's world is. You just kind of go with the flow. And so I started off on the front line where I would get there and everything was ready, and I was a competitor, and we could be just like all the other shooters. We could complain about what didn't go right, a machine broke down, or it got muddy, or whatever it may happen. The shooters like to complain about.
Mm-hmm.
To now, I'm behind the scenes on majority of the shoots. I still get to shoot some, but not as much as I'd like to. But majority of the time now, I'm at the front of the end of the shoot, where I'm one of the first ones to get there and get all the work done before the shooters ever arrive. So with that said, starting off, first of all, you need to decide if you have enough property to be able to host one effectively, in my opinion. Whether it's parking or whether it's traffic flow on the courses or number of courses, and once you've got all that figured out, what's going to happen if you get inclement weather? Do you get 3 or 4 inches of rain that week, or your course is still going to be able to be utilized? All that stuff goes through my mind, and I can only speak for myself, but all the planning that I do or did back in probably, I'm guessing 2009 or 10, somewhere along there, when I started even considering putting in for the U.S. Open. Getting all that done, then you start thinking, okay, where am I going to find all the help to make this a reality if we awarded the event? So all that goes into play at the pre-planning before you even go to the NSCA and fill out a bid form, and then you go make a presentation in front of advisory council and hopefully get awarded. And I've been fortunate enough to have put in for it twice and been awarded both times. So I'm very proud of that. And to my knowledge, I'm probably one of the only clubs that's ever happened to, but I can't confirm that. But anyway, and I think that just stands from my record of what I've been able to accomplish here at Backwoods, as well as on the road working for other shoots, trying to give it all 100% and make each shoot and every shoot, whether I'm hosting or whether I'm working for somebody else, the very best we can make it for the shooters and the customers. And that's what we try to do, and that's what we try to do here at Backwoods. So with all that said, all that comes into play, and now that you got it, you've been awarded the NCAA, now it's go time. So now you're lining up traps, you're lining up key personnel for registration, parking personnel, food vendors. It just goes, the list goes on and on. We can talk about it all night, but that's kind of what you do. Well, I was fortunate enough, since I've already held one in 13, I had the blueprints of what to do. So now I'm not one to sit still and do the same thing over and over, or just try to be a cheapskate and milk the event for what it's worth. I'm putting 100% back in as I can afford to do, and try to make it the very best. So, the shooters put a lot of pressure on me on how they're excited about coming back. 2013 was one of the best shoots they ever attended. I keep hearing those comments and chatter. So it just adds pressure to me of how I can do it as good or even better this year. And that's my goal. So, time will tell how it pans out, but my objective is try to be as good or even better than we did in 13, which was very successful for us. So now we're just in the process of lining all the key personnel up, which you've got all those people in place, and making groundwork preps and that type stuff to daily to get ready for the event.
Rick, you're in South Carolina. I'm in Georgia. We're right next to one another. I've never been to your place, which is weird to say that I've never been there. But so for people like me that maybe have never been there, kind of give them a quick overview of what the place is like.
Well, we're pretty large compared to other venues. We'll be utilizing about 900 acres of total property. We own about 6,000 acres. So with that said, we're not using a drop in the bucket of what we have capabilities of. But, the two tracks we're using, which are on opposite sides of the highway at the entrance to the club, very convenient. Everything can be traveled by ATVs and golf carts. So it's very convenient to get to both sides, both parcels, both tracks that will be utilized for this event. But it's very, very big. So it's 2 miles from the farthest parkour of FETAS to the farthest main, which are the north and south boundaries of what we'll be utilizing. So it's not very walker friendly by any means. Carts are highly recommended. We will have some shuttles, like 10 of them, I think. But with that said, it's still shuttles, just always not Johnny on the spot and exactly where you want them when you need them. So with that said, we highly recommend that you make some kind of arrangement to have transportation if and at all possible. But with that said, what that allows us to do to spread out all the events so it never seems congregated. Yeah, when we have a Saturday night dinner, everybody gets together and has a meal and that type stuff. There will be some congestion areas in that aspect, but as the day goes on, the events are spread out enough to where it won't feel like more than a couple hundred people at any one time on the grounds. And that's the way it worked in 13, and it just works a lot better. In 2013, I only used about 450 acres approximately. I've since added about 340 more acres that we're actually using additionally. So to spread it out that big, that far is just going to allow everything to flow a lot better. And like I say, you got to pay attention to signs. People are, I've seen other clubs hand out maps to shooters. They put it into programs. Shooters never follow maps. Their last resort is stop and ask somebody or pay attention to signs.
Mhm.
But we're hundreds of signs, directional signs we'll have up and ready, but shooters have to take time to read them and pay attention because they could literally be 15 minutes by or 10 minutes by golf cart ride in the wrong directions where they need to be for their start time. So paying attention to where to park, where trailer parking is versus vehicle parking. We have four different lots of RV parking. They'll be notified with a map of where they're going to before they arrive. They need to know that because if they just drive into the clubhouse, they have already made a pretty significant mistake because of it's just depends on what time of week they can arrive when there's a lot of people here. Then getting a 40-foot motorhome turned around when they wasn't supposed to be in that area is not good, and it's the same for trailer parking. If everybody just pay attention to the signs and help us in those regards, it'll help out tremendously. Georgetown and Pawleys Island and the beach areas will be majority of where the lodging arrangements will be made with motels and that type of stuff, which are great locations. That's our biggest drawback. We are a little bit inconvenient for travel time to motels and lodging, which is most commonly could be about 25 to 35 minutes. It is a 2-lane road from Georgetown, which is pretty much where all the beach traffic's going to have to come to Georgetown, then hit Browns Ferry Road, which is also on a lot of maps called Highway 51. Out to the gun club is a 2-lane road that seems to have gotten busier and busier over the last several years. So pay attention to your speed limits and pay attention while you ride down the road and be safe. And that's pretty much in a nutshell of what to expect. We're excited about some other things we've done as far as on FTAS parkours. We're going to have we got about a 40-acre lake in the middle of the property on the south side of the highway from the clubhouse, and on the east end of the lake, we'll be shooting one of the pegs of FTAS. And if anyone hasn't heard, we're shooting new style FTAS. So each peg will have its own traps and its own referee, and it's really a great experience. If you never have been able to shoot FTAS new style, it's to get 52 different target presentations and 100 target round is pretty nice to shoot and a lot of fun. But one of the pegs is going to be shooting over the water, and I've built 4 floating docks that I mount machines to, and they're going to be anchored down in the water so that just a little bit different presentation than you're accustomed to seeing. So that's the unique part of new style is each peg, you can make it unique in its own way. So that's going to be exciting to showcase, and we've just got some neat things with all the courses. It's got lifts or whatever that you expect to see at every event, but every course is somewhat different in its own element, so to speak. But given we in South Carolina, we are on flat ground, so there's not a lot of terrain to work with, so we'll use lifts. But other than that, it's all flat ground, pine plantations. You'll see a lot of all orange targets because of the pine plantations being so tall. If we throw black targets, you won't see it come off the trap. You'll have a limited space in the sky. So people from the Midwest and that stuff used to see a lot of black targets. You won't see very many of them here, which can be a challenge because when I go in the Midwest shooting or go to nationals where I shoot a lot of black targets, I have a hard time reading the speed and distance on them. Well, the same thing happens when they come to the East Coast or the Southeast, for example, and see a lot of orange targets. It's a little bit different for them. See orange in the sky, but it's kind of what you're used to and what you're acclimated to, I think. But in a nutshell, an overview, that's
you have some of the best target setters in the business coming. That's a fact. And what you consider to be some of the best employees you can find, and countless other people involved in making this a success. So we're going to spotlight some of those today on the podcast, and that's never been done. This was a great idea. You came up with this idea. We're going to have 14 people on here. But before we get started with that, is there anything that you would like for the people listening to know about these people?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mentioned this podcast to you. I'm always thinking different. That's like how we partnered with Clay Lab and had them come in and do a a lot of drone footage and videos of the facilities. And if anyone who hasn't seen that video yet, it can be found at quailabusa.com, or a link to it's on my website. And if anyone is not aware, if you go to Back Woods Quail Club website, I have a link to the 2022 U.S. Open website, which has tons of information about the event. And I've talked to people daily now that I realize they haven't even took the time to visit that website. But it's got all the lodging and the event pages, anything, map of the property. It has everything you could possibly think of on that website. So it's a very useful tool to get more familiar with the surrounding areas as well as the club itself. But with that said, I have been a pretty large pro-matic dealer, as I would say, and travel around the country setting targets. I meet a lot of range owners and a lot of club managers and have thousands of customers. And I just thought it makes the event better to get a variety of target presentations, where one target setter may like more of one type target presentation than others, so you get a lot of duplications. But by having a double handful of target setters, in fact, I almost had so many friends and people willing to help me, I about worked myself out of a job. I almost didn't have much left to set for myself. But anyway, with that said, you start with me and you go down from there, and I surround myself with some of the best in the business that not only know what they're doing, but they take pride in what they do. You take a range owner who's had a U.S. Open in the past or has state championships at their own club every single year, and you give them one course and one event to set targets for and manage. It's a walk in the park for them. Well, it brings the most value to me as a range owner, and that's what I want to happen. I want everything to be as perfect as we can make it, and by surrounding myself by these key employees is what makes me successful. I get all the credit, but I tell people every day that my employees and my help and my target setters, they're the ones that make me successful. But it goes on down to the trappers. I mean, trappers get very little credit, but the trappers that sit out there for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, rain, snow, sleet, whatever it may be, they're there trying their best to give you a fair tournament and pull the targets when you call pull in a timely manner, but they do it repetitively, day in, day out. It gets old for them. It gets hard for them. So sometimes you have problems with late pulls or messing up a scorecard, but all that kind of stuff, they just don't get the credit they do. But those are the people that make Rick Hemingway and Back Woods Quail Club successful. And I just want to thank them and know that I appreciate all the hard work and effort they provide for myself and Back Woods Quail Club.
Eric Dorsey, welcome to the show. Eric is from Meadows Clay Sports in Forsyth, Georgia. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing great. How are you, Justin?
Good. Glad to have you on. Rick sent a list of people that he wants to have on. You're first on the list. What's that tell you?
I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'll lead it off.
So at the U.S. Open, you're going to be setting sub-gauge feed task and American field sporting, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
To start with, I've never had you on the show before. Where are you from?
So I've lived in Georgia my entire life, and I currently reside in Madison, Georgia.
How did you get into setting targets?
So my first experience with setting targets was at Elbert County Gun Club. I was on their board of directors at that club for several years. And during that time, I'd help them set a few targets, and I just quickly got hooked on the challenge of setting a course.
I remember seeing you up there now that you mentioned that. So with Rick Hemingway and yourself, how did you two meet each other?
So obviously we bought some stuff from Rick when I was at Elberton, so I got to deal with Rick, and also in shooting, I would attend events that Rick was handling, and just kind of met him that way. And once I saw that I had a passion for it, I bought my first 24 used machines from Rick, and that's how I got started with On Point Shotgun Sports. And now I've got 65 machines, and I travel all over helping with events in the eastern U.S.
So talk about On Point Shotgun Sports.
Okay, On Point Shotgun Sports is I just go and help clubs, kind of like Rick does when he travels. I have 65 machines now, so I'll travel to a club and set the targets if they want me to, or I'll just wrench on the machines and provide mechanic services on my machines during the event.
You stay pretty busy with that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm on the road. This year will be about 20 weeks. I'll
Wow.
be on the road with that, and the rest of the time I'll be at Meadows handling my duties there.
So you've worked at Backwoods before for events in the past.
I have.
And you're very familiar with the grounds. So what about Backwoods is it that you like?
The area I'll be in is the new area acquired across the road. I've set task and 5 at both the Southeast Regional and the South Carolina State. So I'm real familiar with those fields and the locations where I'll be setting this. And they're just an area for unlimited target presentations there. It's just wide open. You got good sun. Just everything will allow for some great events.
American Field Sporting, something that's fairly new, is going to be held for the first time at the U.S. Open. I know you've set targets for AFS before. How excited are you about this to bring this into something as big as the U.S. Open?
Well, I tell you, it's just a huge honor for me. Anybody that's ever worked for Rick before knows that he likes everything to be as close to perfect as possible. So for me to be asked to help him with any event is an honor, but it's a huge compliment for him to ask you to help him at the 2022 U.S. Open. And to handle American Field Sporting for the first time that's being thrown at an Open, I mean, it's just a huge compliment to me.
Are you going to set all 4 courses? Are they going to have 100 birds? Or is that what they're going to do?
Yeah, they're going to do 2 50 birds. So you can choose to shoot just 50, or you can choose to shoot both 50 to get to 100. We'll set all 4 fields, all 4 colors. It'll be red, white, blue, and green.
Well, there you go.
Greenwood stock subgauge fee task. We will be setting 10 machines at each par course. So 5 machines will be shot for 20 gauge, 5 machines for 28 gauge.
Nice.
So then anybody that wants to shoot both gauges, they get just an unlimited amount of target presentations. They won't be shooting the same thing. Look forward to it.
All right, Eric. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you.
Got Jake Spengler on the phone with me from Cardinal Center. What's up, Jake?
Doing well, Justin. How are you, buddy?
Good. You're another one of the guys that Rick put on his list. I guess it's like the top 15 list, and that's pretty good to be on. Yeah.
The top. I think one thing he omitted from his list that I'm a Yankee too. I saw Luongo's on there and Skull's on there, but I too am from the north.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. So tell me what you're going to be setting at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, Justin, I'll be setting the Agromed Subgauge Sporting event.
How did you get into setting targets?
Long story short, Justin, I graduated from SIC. Some of the guys who will be at the Open with me know Bruce Herring in the program that he put together there. Rob Crow came out of that program. Brett Moyes came out of that program.
Yeah.
Nick Arnold with White Flyer came out of that program. And the list goes on and on. Anyways, I went through Bruce's program, interned at Flint Oak, which is in southeastern Kansas. It was a combination of corporate hunting and clay target stuff, sporting, trap, skeet. Mm-hmm. From there, I migrated east to Elk Creek in northern Kentucky, where I worked for Dave Kelly for 3 or 4 years. And that's where I really first set a whole bunch of targets, which, that facility is a target setter's dream, just based on the varied terrain you have.
Right.
And then once the opportunity at Cardinal came about, I migrated north again, and I've been at the Cardinal Center for the last almost 9 years.
That place is big. How big?
It's large. We're on about 1,700 acres.
Yeah, that's a big place.
We've got 52 American trap fields, 20 skeet fields, two fully functional sporting courses, 5 stand, couple of FETAS layouts, and then our rifle and pistol stuff.
Rick says this is your first trip to Backwoods.
It is my first trip to Backwoods. Hopefully it's not my last. We'll see how scores come in on that sub-gauge sporting, but I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be new terrain for me. But Rick's been up here, and I know his expectations. He helped us with the 2019 Northeast Regional. And then he also helped us with the state shoot that year and the year after in 2020. So we've got a pretty good working relationship. John Snowden comes up and helps me with SCTP Nationals, has for the last couple of years. So it'll be a bunch of familiar faces, which will make it pretty easy.
So, Jake, what are you expecting, and what will be your strategy for setting targets at a new place that you've never been to?
Creativity. Wendell Cherry told me one time, you need to go to Walmart and buy some creativity.
They sell that there?
Apparently. In Wendell's Walmart, they do. Fresh eyes on a new place. When you set targets at the same facility over and over and over and over again, you eventually run out of ideas, especially when you've done it at the same station for 8 or 9 years. Now, when you're Rick's age and you've done it for eons, and you threw sporting clays for Moses, I don't know how the man doesn't run out of creativity, but
yeah,
that's just me. It'll be a fun time. I'll have some space to work with. I'll have traps to work with because he's always going to throw a variety of targets.
Right.
The master of the specialties, Rick Hemingway is. So he'll have plenty of variation in target, which will make my job pretty easy.
I bet he won't run out of traps either.
Oh no, sir. He'll have plenty of traps, plenty of blue traps.
Yeah. So you ready for the warmer weather? Is it cool up there?
I am. They're calling for snow on Saturday here, Justin. Our youth turkey season's supposed to open up, and they are calling for snow. Yep. Hopefully it's the last time. I did mow the grass last week, so that's a promising sign that spring will be here soon. But yeah, we are definitely looking forward to warmer temperatures.
Well, you're going to get it when you come this way. I can promise you that.
That's a fact.
That and humidity, what we're known for.
That and humidity. I'll take it, especially after being in the cold for as long as we have this year.
Okay, we have Casey Chase on with Score Chaser. Casey, how you doing?
Good, awesome. Thanks for having me.
I know Backwoods is excited to have you for the 2022 U.S. Open on Score Chaser. And I think this is your first U.S. Open on Score Chaser. Is that right?
It is. We're really looking forward to it. It will definitely be the biggest shoot we've run so far. The Southeast Regional at Meadows was probably the most recent large tournament, or the biggest shoot we've done so far, and it had around 900. So pushing 1,400 for this U.S. Open will be really exciting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it will. And I know everybody with Score Chaser is going to be there to take care of everything. So who from your staff will be present to make registration go as smooth as it always is when you're available?
Oh, well, thank you very much. Myself and Callie will be the only ones from Score Chaser, and then Becky Rogers and Lois Neely will both be there to help with registration too. So it's a fun crew, and everybody does a great job. So we look forward to taking care of everybody.
Yeah. People have heard about this idea Rick's got called the Express Lane. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. So I think it originated just in an effort to help expedite the registration process and spread out, this massive number of shooters so that everybody's not checking in that same building or at the same time. So we're offering shooters an opportunity to get their registration straight, no changes to squatting or events, lock in your options, make sure you got a golf cart on there, pay your entry in full online in advance. And if you reflect that zero balance on your registration, then you're eligible for the Express Lane. That will be a table set up in a different area from the registration building, so you can go straight up there, pick up your stuff, and leave. You won't have to worry about checking out with the cashiers. You'll just verify your class, and then they'll hand you your goodie bag and your final schedule.
That is a great idea. I think we should do that everywhere.
Yeah, I think it'll be, I'm really excited to see how many people take advantage of it and kind of get an idea of, the logistics behind it for long-term application, because I do think it's just going to be, a tremendous value to the shooters.
Yeah. Now, what will Callie be in charge of?
So Callie's actually going to be set up across the road. Rick's got stuff spread out everywhere, which is awesome. That he's got the property and the ability to do that. So it's quite a drive from like where Feetask and some of the other events across I think they call it Pony Acres now, where the new RV park and stuff is. It's quite a drive in a golf cart to go back and forth with scorecards. Mm-hmm. So Callie's going to be set up in a camper trailer over by those events, and everything that happens on that side of the road, the scorecards will be brought straight to her so that she can input those scores, and we have, faster results available. It's also a really exciting thing for us to try because, we would have had to have been networked before to accomplish something like that. So Score Chaser is allowing us to kind of break into new turf and make sure that we are operating as efficiently as possible.
Yeah. So Super Squads, real-time scoring will be offered on Sunday. What is all this about?
Sure. So Rick also had this fun idea. He likes to come up with ways to challenge me, truly, which is great. I think it's awesome to grow and learn as we're doing all this. But he invited the top 30-ish, a couple more than 30, off of the 2021 All-American team to participate in these super squads. And with that, they're randomly squatted, and they're all shooting the same rotation, and they're all stationed back-to-back stations. So they're all kind of pressure on each other, A and B squads. And there will be a live scorer with them that updates the scores directly from that station, and we'll have leaderboards in the pavilion, so you'll actually be able to see these top shooters head-to-head, station by station, rather than just, an end total once all of their scorecards make it into the registration building. So it'll be really exciting to kind of see how that unfolds and, as they move through the course.
Now, tell me how this works again. So you're going to have someone follow the squads around, or are they going to just stay at one station?
I'm not quite sure how he wants to do that yet. I think that probably just having the digital scorer available at that station is probably going to be the easiest option.
Right.
But it really just depends on, devices and connectivity in those areas. Like if cell service is good and they have access to Score Chaser where they can plug those scores in. So he will definitely have that figured out before we get to that point for sure. But there will be reports from every station coming in as those stations finish. Are there any openings for the main event at the U.S. Open? There is right now. So we just passed the deadline. It was April 1st for refunds on deposits due to cancellation. So that created a few openings. We've got roughly 35 spots in the main right now, and nobody on the waiting list for a specific rotation. So there is a little bit of wiggle room. Just the way I'm seeing registrations coming through, that won't last very long, I expect it to fill up again. So tell me a little bit, before I let you go, tell me a little bit about what Score Chaser is doing and what your vision is for the future. Oh, well, awesome. So we are really, we're really excited right now about Stage 2 planning for Score Chaser. We are deep in planning for series shoots, which involves leagues, points races, and combo shoots. We're also going to be implementing a lesson platform where instructors can schedule and administrate their lessons, book their lessons, and keep track of all of their students. And it also provides a central location for brand new shooters to go find lessons. Right now you got to know somebody at the club, or you have to go, direct to an instructor's website to book a lesson or call them. So I think that'll be really exciting. We're also obviously looking into digital scoring, and Rick's U.S. Open will provide the first glimpse of what our leaderboard situation will look like. So lots of exciting stuff, and part of that too, is great for us, and we're grateful for the opportunity to work with Rick and figuring all that out and starting some beta testing. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. It definitely has made things a lot easier. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Justin. Thanks, Casey. I appreciate your time. All right, we've got Evan Sharp on the phone with me. How you doing, Evan?
Doing well. How about yourself, Justin?
Good. So you have got a job to do at Back Woods Quail Club. What is that?
Yeah, so I'm going to be setting the practice course for the U.S. Open, and basically going to try to keep the targets fresh for everyone. Going to do my best, change them out every single day, and give them something challenging to shoot at, but still have a good time out there and break some clays. Yeah. So how did you get into target setting, Evan? About 8 years ago, I took a job over at Michigan Shooting Center's Island Lake facility. It's Pat Litsky's place, and started out the rifle pistol range, kind of worked my way up over to clays and became general manager over there, and then designed, developed, and built Hyatt Farms, which is in Polkton, North Carolina, and learned a lot down here, especially from target setters like Eric Dorsey, Rick Hemingway coming up here all the time, and then I'm I'm very fortunate where an hour away is Rocky Creek, and I go over and shoot Mike Longo's targets pretty frequently.
Yeah. So do you run Hyatt Farms?
Yep.
Okay.
General manager there.
Okay. I've never been there. Tell me about that place.
Yeah, so we opened up May of 19, so we're going on our third year, actually the weekend of the US Open. Started out pretty small, did a 5-stand, realized that we had a pretty big push from the Charlotte area, so decided to drop in a sporting clays course maybe about 3 months after that. And then 2 Septembers ago, had Rick Hemingway come over and help us design our field course so we could start throwing some NSCA events. And it's really taken off. We're fortunate. We've had clubs in the area that have kind of paved the way for us in the Charlotte area, like Rocky Creek. And our first shoot this year in February, we had over 173 shooters show up for an NSCA shoot. And
yeah, that's good.
It's fantastic for our first year or our second year really throwing targets out there. So we're extremely happy with where we're going right now.
Yeah, well, good. How often do you get to Backwoods?
As much as I can. I mean, I've probably been down there half a dozen times in the last 2 years. Anytime I have 2 or 3 days off in a row, which doesn't happen a lot, I always try and drive down there, stay for the week, and shoot 2-3 times and hang out for a couple hours every time I'm there.
Yeah. So what are you most excited about coming into the U.S. Open?
Mainly for me, the opportunity. I know it's going to be great for me to get out and set birds at an event of this caliber, and just really grow my target inventory, checking out what everyone else is doing, and excited to see everyone. That's most of the shooters and club managers were the same way. The only time you ever see anyone is during an NSCA event, so it'll be fun to get down there and see some faces I haven't seen, buddies from back home in Michigan, and people from all over the country.
So as far as setting practice targets, how do you envision setting this up? Are you going to set them easy? Are you going to set them hard? Are you going to have a mix of everything? How are you going to do this?
I don't think I'll really necessarily set anything easy. I like setting technical birds. I like challenging the shooters. I kind of want to get them something to warm them up for what they're about to head out to. I don't want to, set something super easy and boring for them. I kind of want to challenge them, and my goal is to watch people sit there and shoot the same targets, multiple times till they try and figure it out. That's my goal.
Yeah, shoot a whole box at one target till you hit it.
Absolutely. Hopefully even more at a couple.
I've done that several times, and I'll even walk off and still not hit it. And I'm like, I'm just not going to shoot any more shells at this. So.
Yeah, just move on to the next one.
Yeah, we'll get that thing later. So
that's right.
Evan, thank you for coming on, and I look forward to seeing you at the U.S. Open.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be a blast, and look forward to seeing everyone there.
All right, Mike Oliver, Hunters Point Sporting Clays and Rose Hill Farm Sporting Clays. How are you tonight?
Doing good, Justin. How are you?
I'm great. So what are you going to be setting at the U.S. Open?
I'm setting the Welcome 100 prelim event and parkours 3 and 4 on FTASC.
Welcome 100. Is that the early prelim?
Yes, that's the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday prelim.
Mike, how did you get into this sport?
We started out with skeet and trap at Rose Hill Farm, and then in 1989, Mayo Body, the owner of the farm, he heard about sporting clays, and him and my father-in-law Larry made a trip to Virginia. And the next thing I knew, we had 4 Bowman manual traps, and we've been throwing sporting clays ever since.
All right, so tell me how you got into setting targets. Is that just led into setting targets? I'm assuming.
Yeah, that led into setting targets. Mid-90s, we started shooting. I started doing a mobile 5-stand setup. I bought some used traps from Dan Dolchek, a guy in Raleigh, and over the years we met Chuck Frazier through different shoots, and I moved up to a bigger trailer and been setting targets and ever since.
What is your idea of good targets?
Good targets are visible targets that people can see, people can hit, and have a good time shooting them. Now, a good target is not necessarily a long, hard, eye depth, problems. Mm-hmm. It's a good target with a good line, dome, belly, that's seeable.
Yeah. So if you're going to try to beat a shooter, you're going to beat him with something technical probably versus throwing something way out there.
A little bit off speed, a little bit of curl.
Yeah.
It depends on what the land gives me. Depends on what the club gives me, the topography.
Yeah.
On what we can get there. So
you've been involved with FETASC since the early days of the UK US Masters, which was a big FETASC event back in the late 90s, hosted by
Rose Hill
Farms and Larry Corbett, which is your father-in-law.
Yep.
So
yeah, Barry G. Davis was a sports writer. We knew Barry. Barry went over to the UK several years. He introduced us to David Peckham, Jamie Peckham's father.
Yep.
And then we made more or less a group, and we formed a little company, and we started doing the UK US Masters at Rose Hill. Our first shoot was in 96. We run it in 96, 97, 98 as the UK US Masters, and then we switched it to the Rose Hill FETASC Classic, and we ran another 6 years after that.
So having experience in FETASC like that, how does it help you now when you're setting a course?
It helps tremendously. I mean, seeing FETASC targets versus sporting targets, you can correlate a lot of both events into one.
Parkour's 3 and 4, you're going to have its new style. So how many traps you setting for 3 and 4?
4 traps per peg. So you'll have a parkour 3. We're going to run 3 and 4 pegs per parkour, and we'll have 4 traps per peg. You see it at Nationals. Nationals runs new style. Some of your bigger regionals now are running new style because you're shooting a squad every 15 minutes versus a squad every 45 minutes versus old style.
Well, what are you expecting when you go to Backwoods? What are you looking forward to?
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a well-run shoot. A lot of people there, a lot of friends, a lot of people we met over the years. It's going to be a good time.
And for people that don't know, Mike Oliver is Braxton Oliver's dad, which Braxton's been on a tear here lately. And
Braxton is my firstborn.
Yep. And he is a great shooter, and I enjoy talking to him every time I see him. I look forward to meeting you too, Mike.
Sounds good.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Mike Luongo is on the phone with me now from Rocky Creek Sporting Clays. What's up, Mike?
Not much, Justin. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I wanted to get you on before I got Joe Skull on because Joe Skull's probably going to take a lot of time. I only have like 2 or 3 questions for him, but it'll probably take forever because he won't hear me.
No, that's Sleepy Joe. I've known him practically my whole life, so it's all good.
So what are you setting at the Open?
I'm setting the prelim and the competition 5 stand.
They got you on some good stuff there, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, you set some targets here that I shot not that long ago, and I posted some videos about them. I mean, I don't know that I've had that much fun shooting targets in a long time. Mad at myself, but laughing at myself at the same time.
That's a good thing. That's what we go after,
Yeah. I had a good time. So I've had you on several times before, but what are you thinking going into the U.S. Open as a target setter?
Man, like I said, I'm a little bit different. I mean, I don't draw on pads. I don't do anything. I call it the blank canvas. I look at the station, see what I have, and just send it. I just go at it. I don't ever plan. It's like a blank canvas for me. I just go at it. Whatever comes to my mind at that moment. What's
probably your favorite terrain to set on, Mike?
That terrain at Cherokee Rose was awesome.
Yeah.
That basically, if you put that set of targets in a Walmart parking lot, it probably would have shot, a lot easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Other than 15.
Yeah. 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 Other than 15.
So you and Rick are great friends. Did he show you a lot about target setting?
Me and Rick are buddies. I think just by watching Rick. I learned from guys like Rick, Anthony Matarese, Joe Skull, Chuck Frazier, who passed away. Just guys I paid attention to over the years, who I thought did it the best. And there's plenty of great ones out there, but they just stick in my brain and just kind of paid attention when I went to shoots,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're going to see the usual Mike Luongo course here. The tricky one, the fast one, the quarter and one, all that involved.
Yeah, Rick's got a nickname for me. He calls me World Class.
Well, how's
I said,
that?
why do you call me World Class, Rick? I said, I don't. He said, everything you said's world class. You don't give anything away.
No, that's a fact. But it's fun that way. You know, people would rather shoot something that's challenging, I think, versus just a bunch of gimmies. It gets boring after you shoot a bunch of easy stuff, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I just like to give everybody, you know, if I'm going in there to set targets, I don't care if it's a monthly shoot at my gun club or the U.S. Open. I want to give them 110%. You know what I mean? I want to throw everything I have, and, you know, because I'm a shooter first by trade, right? So I know when I go to a tournament, that's what I'm looking for, the challenge, the variety, stuff like that. So I just want to give it back when I have the chance to give it back.
Yeah. What makes you want to set courses and deal with all that work involved instead of just shooting?
It's not bright. I mean, I just, you know, I just enjoy it. I mean, and it's just a little break from shooting every now and then. But I just enjoy it, you know, and people keep asking me, so I keep helping out. I just like to help the game, you know, help try to promote the game and to get more people involved in it, you know.
Yeah. Now, are you shooting anything?
Yeah, I'm going to shoot a couple of side events of the Open,
Okay.
the main event, and then a couple side events whenever I have time. I'm lucky I got my right hand Daniel going with me, and our buddy JR Little on the course, so that'll allow me to sneak away for 2 hours and roll back over there, you know.
There you go.
And I look forward to seeing everybody, and I think it's going to be a great shoot. We got a good team, great lineup, so it should be awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a A+ team, that's for sure. Some of the best there is, all teamed up together, putting on a pretty cool event.
Yeah, it'll be neat.
All right, look forward to seeing you, Mike.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, we got Joe Skull on from Cedar Creek Sporting Clays. Joe, I just got off the phone with Mike Luongo, okay? And he calls you Sleepy Joe. What's up with that?
I don't know why he calls me Sleepy Joe. He's still trying to learn off of my targets how to set targets, but that'll go on for years.
So he still calls you for advice, doesn't he?
Well, about twice a week.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. You know, every time I go somewhere, I see you at a tournament. It seems like if I'm at a tournament, you're there and you set a course somewhere on that property. What makes you keep wanting to do this?
I love doing what I do, but at the same time, I love the guys I work with. You know, we have a blast. You get Longo and you get Hemingway and you get Dominic and, you know, guys like that. We just have a lot of fun together, you know. We make our job that can be bad at times fun no matter what.
Yeah. So you're setting super sporting at the U.S. Open.
Yes.
All right. How do you know when you have set a great course at a tournament?
I know it's good when I'm done. I know it's good, and usually you have a night to sleep on it. And 99% of the time, nothing comes into my head that I would think I need to change anything, or I might go look at something. But you know, when you start messing with it, you make it worse than more often than you do anything better.
So when the first time around, you kind of leave it like it was.
99% of the time, yeah. You got guys come around, look with you, look at stuff, and you know, and it's better to have another set of eyes on it once in a while. You know.
Yeah.
You could pick up a safety issue or sun issue or something like that, but for the most part, I've been doing it since '94. So I've made my mistakes in the past, and you learn from them.
Yeah.
I try to set a course where 96 is a good score on it.
Mm-hmm.
97, 98 will pop up anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, you got to set it where the big guys miss something simple, and the little guys still have a chance, and they still get a half decent score on it. You got to think about everybody. You can't think about, you know, those 14 guys at the top who are going to win every shoot all over the country.
You dropped by Back Woods a few months back to look at some property for super sporting. This ground's never been shot on and was created just for the U.S. Open. What did you think, and what do you have in mind after seeing this new course?
I mean, it's an awesome piece of ground, and there's no limits on you. And that's something I'm not really used to getting. Most of the time, they stick me in a spot where there's a lot of sun issues or shot fall issues, and you got to really control where the guys are shooting and where they're throwing targets. Here, I can go and set pretty much what I want to set and use my full imagination and style that I have
Mm-hmm.
to set targets.
Do you ever shoot the courses you set, Joe?
No, years ago I used to, but then when a lot of times when you're shooting a course that you set, there's no consequence on it, and you break targets easier because there's not a score sheet in front of you.
Yeah.
You're not competing, so you're more loose and just shooting for fun. And you know the difference in shooting for fun and competing when that target you miss matters. It carries to the next one.
You're right about that. What are you looking forward to the most about this tournament?
I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody, all my friends, having a good time, watching people shoot my course. I love doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And just everybody's going to have a great time there. I mean, Rick's got a place that's unbelievable. We got more land to work with than most clubs do. And everybody's going to have a different course. And you got so many different target setters in there. It's going to be unique that you're going to have so many different styles. Everywhere they go, they're going to run into something different.
I agree. Well, Joe, thanks for your time, man. And we'll see you there.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Take care.
Dominic Bethel, the owner of Meadows Clay Sports in Forsyth, Georgia. What's up, man?
What's up, Justin? Good to talk to you again.
How did you get involved with helping the U.S. Open this year?
It was right before the regional at the Meadows last year. Rick came to me and said, "Hey, man, what do you think about helping with the U.S. Open?" I said, "Well, what do you have in mind?" And he said, "Well, I'd like you to help me get some sponsors and vendors for the event and help make the event, top notch, and get me the most sponsors and most vendors you can get. And that way it's a real experience for the shooter." And I think the goal that we set out, and I think we've accomplished it, is to have it so that the only event you can go to this year that's going to have more sponsors, more vendors, is going to be Nationals in October. So there's going to be a lot here with us.
All right. Well, since you're talking about that, what sponsors do you have and what vendors do you have?
Man, the list is pretty extensive. I know Lauren is actually working on, keeping the website up to date. So
yeah.
I'm going to kind of defer to, people check that out. That website needs to be checked out anyway. It's got a ton of information that shooters are going to want to see before they get there, as far as maps, ammo pre-orders, all that good stuff. But I can say that, we're adding more vendors. Kind of every day we get calls. Like right now, I think we're right at like that 40 sponsor vendor number. So 40 companies there working together, to make the event top notch. And Rick's got the space, and I went up there last summer and we kind of mapped out what vendor row would look like, given some of our early sponsors that got on board. They bring trailers and all kinds of stuff to service their customers, and so. We mapped that all out and what that'll look like. And so, but I got to say, huge thank you to, our title sponsors, Winchester and Promatic. They've stepped up huge. And I think that, people will see that. Beretta stepped up to be our main event sponsor. So people will be shooting on the main event courses, obviously named after three of their guns, the DT11, the A400 and the 694 course. So that was big of them. And then Krieghoff and Fiocchi both stepped up to help make the event much, much better, and we'll take all the ammo sponsors we can get, right, to help out there. And then anybody that's gone through registration, really early on in the process, we worked hard to get our event sponsors signed up. So, if you're shooting an event, you probably saw like that you signed up for the SGS prelim or the Rhino 5 stand. Cole Guns is doing super sporting. If you don't follow Cole on social media, like you got to, they posted their first place trophies recently on their stories, and cowbell is all I'm going to say with that.
I saw that. That is cool.
Yeah, it's cool. They thought outside the box and they made something really cool, and I think anybody's going to want to win that. RC USA actually is our the FITAS sponsor. PMS Firearms, Pila, and ESP stepped up to be a part of the Welcome 100. Agramed, not even a shooting company, they stepped up to be the subgauge sponsor. White Flyer is sponsoring the AFS event. And Jim Greenwood, Greenwood Stocks, will be sponsoring the 28 gauge and 20 gauge feed task. So really happy that all those guys, put up. And I mean, you'll still see a lot of the usual, companies there. I mean, I know Briley's I think they sponsored a 5 stand, and I mean, just basically, anybody and everybody who you're used to seeing at these events will be there. So if you need anything, spend some time on Vendor Row, and definitely check out the website. There's a lot of vendors there that you're going to see.
Is there any available sponsor spots left in case someone needs to get on board late?
Yeah, we actually had one drop out. So I do, if anybody is interested in being a part of this, please reach out to me. The email I'm using is dom@backwoodsquailclub.com. We'll take care of you. Or if you're just interested in being a vendor, showing up, selling stuff, showing your product, feel free to reach out.
Rick told me about a Friday and Saturday night make a break where they're going to give away 10 grand each night. Is that right? Or did I hear that wrong?
No, you heard that absolutely right. And, I'm going to give thanks to Elite Shotguns and Kohler for stepping up and being a sponsor for Make a Break. We couldn't do this without them. I mean, we just literally could not do it without them. So we basically got them to pony up and help us make that a thing. So each night, Friday and Saturday night, we will have 2 different Make a Break competitions. So Friday night is going to be A class through E class. Those shooters will qualify to shoot in that Friday night Make a Break shootout. And then Friday night, first place is going to win $5,000. Second place is going to win $3,000. And third place is going to make $2,000. Right there, they'll pay to qualify, but they will not pay to make it into the finals, right? I mean, there's no, if you shoot a top score and you're in, you're done. Like, there's no extra money you got to pay to go in. And then there will be a showing of the guns Friday night. And then the master class and AA shooters, their shootout will be Saturday night. Again, $5,000, $3,000, $2,000. There will be a showing of the guns for that as well. So, bring some money, pick your favorite shooter, and see if you can make some money for yourself as well.
So is Ed Preckle going to be there, Dominic?
Yes. Fast Eddie will be there. He's always awesome to watch and do his show, and we're excited that he'll be there as well. So
the way you qualify, you just pay $20 and get up there, shoot it. If you shoot a top score, you're in. Yeah,
that's it. Yep.
And it pays 3 spots down.
3 spots down. I mean, like most events, you go to, you qualify and then you got to buy in, right? There's no buy-in here. So I think it's going to be interesting, like when you go to some of these large events, you always see some of the same people in the Make or Break shootout, because some people just, they don't want to play with their $200, right? Or they just want to pocket it. But here, it might be interesting. You might see some people you don't traditionally see on a Make or Break stage, and you might even see them walk away with $3,000. You never know.
I think you and I need to go do that. I normally don't do it.
Dude, let's go. I'll be there. I'll be there for sure. And heck, I'm bringing my gun, and let's go.
All right, Dominic, thanks for coming on, man. And we'll see you at the Open.
See you, buddy.
All right, got Mike Bashaw on, Big Mike from Big Red Oak Plantation. And Mike, you're going to be setting one of the main event courses, the red course, Beretta 694 course.
Yes, sir. I think it's going to be a fabulous shoot. I can't wait to get there.
How long have you been setting targets, and when did you start doing it?
We started throwing targets here at Big Red Oak Plantation in 2005, and I started learning then. Before that, I was a quail guide. And once we started getting rolling here, due to other people's bad luck, I ended up being a target setter and constantly asking the shooters what they wanted out of targets, and it's evolved into where I'm at now.
Traveling all over setting targets. Every time I go somewhere, I see you. I told Joe Skull the same thing.
Yeah, it's a great sport to be in. All the shooters are fabulous. We've got a great crowd, and I've actually traveled all over the United States doing this. and it's been fabulous.
You worked at the 2013 U.S. Open at Backwoods, as well as a few other events there. Tell me what you expect and what you like about going to Backwoods.
What I like about Backwoods is with Rick Hemingway, he throws the best shoots around. He thinks of everything, and he even goes over the top with this. That's why I'm excited to go there. His grounds are spectacular. With his new grounds, it's even that much bigger. So with all the people that we'll have, it should be a fabulous shoot.
Yeah, the course you're setting is a mature pine plantation, similar to what's at Big Red Oak. You know, you're familiar with the course I'm talking about. Do you try to set a course to a score, or do you just set the course and see how it turns out?
A little bit of both, really. I've got to set the course. We've got, with so many people there, we've got such an array of shooters that we have to keep in the sport, and so it's got to be spot on, really. He's got plenty of towers on it. You know, he's got great openings to throw some really nice targets.
Are you running through this in your mind, like, all right, on where station 2 is going to be, I'm going to put this? Does that kind of stuff go through your mind at all?
It does to a certain point, you know, because you got to keep, once you get there and you know which way the course is going and you see where the tight spots would be, you try to get things maybe ramped up a little bit more so there's not a big backup there and they get through the corners. The course stays moving and everybody feels challenged. And that's the biggest deal, you know, with the U.S. Open being, you know, one of the largest shoots in the United States. And and everybody's going there for the challenging targets. They want to feel like they've got everything out of a shoot that it could be.
What kind of targets do you like setting the most?
I like the more technical targets, something that doesn't have a really good line on it, and that's where I like to set them. I don't the fast and far targets. I think everybody, they don't get to practice them as much. So if you give them a nice technical target that's got a little bit of a distance to it, but they can see the whole thing, they really, you know, they're a lot better off with that.
That's right. We'll see you when we get there, Mike.
Looking forward to it, sir.
All right, got John Michael Morris on with us, a Backwoods employee. What's up, John?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Good. So tell me what you do at Backwoods on a day-to-day basis.
Well, day-to-day just depends on if Rick's in town or not. Normally he's not, so if it's hunting season, just kind of schedule the quail hunts and deer hunts and make sure the cooks are ready and the houses are ready and so they got a place to stay, and schedule all the guides, and then turkey season comes and schedule all the turkey hunts, and I actually go out and guide with John Snowden, also guide, so just the two of us handle all of them for the month of April and the latter part of March. And you know, summertime gets here and help with all the tournaments when needed. I used to work on some machines a little bit back before we had some higher clientele that knows a lot more than I know about them, so I've kind of gotten away from a lot of that, but mainly just keep up with the grounds and all the day-to-day stuff and make sure people got things to do, and got a pretty good crew, so I don't really have to do a whole lot.
How many stations do you have to keep up with at Backwoods?
As far as regular sport and clay stations, we keep 2 courses running that are 15 stations each. And we got a 5-stand, and we got a skeet and trap field. And then, you know, whenever we have these big tournaments, we've got a lot more to keep up with. So whenever we had the Open back in 2013, we had to put in a lot of new stuff, and which we did. And now these tournaments are getting bigger and bigger, and you got to do more and more for each one of them. And, you know, Rick don't like to do the same thing twice, so we keep having to close down one area that we built a course in for one tournament, and we'll go build another course somewhere else so they can see something different when they get here.
You were attempting to make 6+ miles of cart paths presentable.
Yeah, there's a lot of new cart paths we got, and did some new stuff to a lot of them. We've put down probably somewhere between 100 and 125 loads of rock in the last month, just trying to get some of them up to date and some of the new ones where we don't really want nobody to have to step in no dirt.
Yeah.
So with that also comes, all the grass comes through it. So then you got to round up 6 miles of rock to make sure no grass comes up in it and weeds and whatever. And, try to make it look just like it looked 2 weeks ago, make it look like that in May. So
yeah,
there's a lot to keep up with. That's the cart paths are one thing. And then there's probably, I don't know, if I had to guess, somewhere 100 to 200 acres of grass that's cut every week.
Wow.
So there's 3 or 4 lawnmowers that stay going multiple times, and 15-foot bush hog, and over where we have all the feed task across the road, that new property we got about 2 years ago, all those pastures, all those have to be mowed. And we just try to keep it, try to have it looking tomorrow like we want to look in May. So it's a lot easier to keep it all up to date all the way through instead of trying to do it all in a week.
Yeah. I've always heard that. I hadn't been to Backwoods yet. This will be my first time, but I've always heard that Rick has said, I don't want anybody's feet touching dirt. And you mentioned that.
Nah, he don't really want no dirt and no mud. It's trying to keep all that from happening is pretty tough, but we've had a lot of tournaments. We have a couple annual ones a year that are pretty good size, and a lot of this stuff gets used year in, year out at least a couple of times. And I guess after you've had a couple of these Southeast regionals and we've had one U.S. Open, it gets to be where I wouldn't say it's easy, but after you've had a couple of them, it does get a little easier.
Yeah. What's you and your team going to be doing during the shoot?
Anything from, with it lasting as long as it is, you can cut the grass a week before it and that grass is going to be back up. So we'll be trying to keep the grass down, making it look pretty, making sure there's no water on the roads. If we get some rain, making sure all the trenches are in the right spots, moving rock, making sure, and it's more than the courses, making sure the RV parks, the roads are up to date and all that stuff. So you can do all you want to do leading up to it, but if you get some rain, we try to prepare as good as we can, but you don't ever know. Like right now, it's raining, looks like about 2 inches a minute. So if we get something like that, then there's going to be things that pop up that have to be taken care of. But outside of that, just whatever he needs me to do, wherever, making sure everything's good. And that's pretty much it. As long as everybody's having a good time, that's all we really care about.
That's what it's all about. And that's what I know Rick's known for, putting on a good show, and I'm sure it'll be perfect when we get there. So
yeah, there's, some people are out there and have these shoots year in, year out and don't really change nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. Rick's just not like that. He's my uncle, and obviously I've been around him for all 39 years of my life, and he wants everybody to have a good time. It's not about the money to him.
John Michael, thank you for coming on, man, and we'll see you when we get up there.
Sounds good. Good talking to you.
All right,
see
buddy.
you soon.
See you. All right, got John Snowden on, and he is one of the main men up at Backwoods. What's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot.
Word on the street is you're setting the main event, the blue course, DT11 course. Is that right?
That's what they tell me.
You gonna give it
I'm
a
not
shot?
sure that's what everybody wants after the last time I set targets.
Would you set them too hard?
Yeah, everybody cried about them.
So what you gonna do this time? Make them smile?
Nope. Better bring the tissues, all I can tell them. Last time was a regional. This time's a U.S. Open.
What do you do day to day up at Backwoods?
So day to day, I might be anywhere from Florida to West Virginia doing installs, service work, anything in between, setting up for a tournament, setting some 5 stands, corporate events, anything and everything. Could be at home getting trailers ready for the next event, loading up, trying to put machines together, get ready to go deliver something, change targets at home, at Backwoods. That's about it. Something to do with machines every day.
How long have you been working there?
I've been working at the Quail Club now for about 9 years.
Okay. So, and you work with machines all day, every day. What's your job going to be for the U.S. Open?
So for the U.S. Open, I'm going to be teching. I mean, I'll set the main event, but then I'll be teching and making sure everybody else is good, keeping all the techs in line, make sure we're where we need to be to make sure we can get something fixed if something happens to go wrong as quick as possible. And at the end of the day, making sure everything's cleaned up and neated up and ready for the next day to start.
I was talking to Rick. I want to know how you schedule out over 400 machines for this, how you know what courses they go on, and how you get the team ready to throw over 1 million targets in a week.
So, I mean, we got the machines coming in at different times. I mean, between our house machines and Eric Dorsey's machines coming in, and then 4 Promatic trailers coming in. So everybody's coming in, at different times along with target setters. So I was dealing with when the traps were coming, when I needed to have target setters there. So everybody wasn't there, let's just say Monday morning, wanting to know what to do. And that's just a lot on everybody. So Monday morning, there's going to be 2 trailers there. There's going to be 2 target setters there. We're going to go to work. Some trailers went here because they didn't have as many specialties, or some trailers went there because they had more specialties, and just broke it out that way to try to keep everybody's machines together as best as possible, which is hard to do with that many machines and so many events. But just so on cleanup day, everybody's not having to go get 10 machines from over here and 10 machines from over there.
Yeah.
98% of your machines are going to be right there together.
That's a bunch of machines, 400 machines. That's crazy.
Yep, it's going to be hectic, but we got a good team together. When everybody's coming to tech and everybody's setting targets, it ought to be good.
Well, thank you for coming on, and I appreciate your time with us.
Yep, thank you for having me.
All right, got Lauren Snowden on with us. Probably the I don't know what Rick refers to you as, but I know you're way high up on the totem pole.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, I think you run the show, right?
Sometimes.
So what do you do day to day at Backwoods?
I do accounts payable, accounts receivable, just take care of all customers. I mean, anything that ever comes through, if it comes through that door, I've double checked it, triple checked it. Just on day-to-day stuff, I do just bringing up customers with clays. It could be quail hunting, could be invoicing out for Promatic equipment, could be invoicing out for trap rental, anything and everything.
Wow. How long have you been there?
A little over 17 years.
17?
Wow. 17.
Wow.
Half my life.
Well, there's nothing wrong. That means you know what's going on. That's for sure.
Right.
So let's talk about the U.S. Open. There's a few things that you're in charge of, and they're all big responsibilities. And the one that really it made me look at twice was 700 trophies.
Correct. A lot.
How do you have 700? I can understand if it was 30. 700?
That's a lot. Trying to make sure you don't duplicate any other club's ideas, and trying to get them something different, but you can only do so much with 700. So we try our best and hope everyone likes them.
You must going to be giving these out when you sign up.
That's right. One for each person. It's like a door prize.
So you're handling the ammo pre-orders too, right?
Yes. We set up a store for them. So
yeah, that's probably a little hectic in itself right now.
Right. Keeping up with what comes in and making sure you don't duplicate any items you put on the store. But we pre-ordered close to 4,000 cases to make sure everyone had some, just with all the craziness going on in the world.
Yep.
So we got some from Winchester, Game Bore, RC, and just went live with some Fiocchi today, and it's been really popular, and it had some BMPs on there. So we created the online store to make it easy for everyone. That way when they come in, all they got to do is go down there, show their receipt, and they can pick up their ammo and head out the door.
So you're going to have plenty of ammo for everybody to shoot.
Absolutely.
Or
We
you got-
have more than enough.
So I was going to say, do you have extra they can buy if they need to?
Yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll take some that are same manufacturers and same brands, and we'll take them, bring them to the pro shop, and then we'll sell them out of the pro shop as well. So
Gotcha. So where do they go pick up their ammo they've paid for?
at the end of Hemingway Lane near Rick's house, and there'll be some directional signs on the road. Got away down there in his shop. He'll have it set up. We'll have 2 employees down there, and all they have to do is go down there, tell them their name. They'll have a list of all the receipts as well, and they just go in there. They'll give them their cases, and they'll be on their way.
Good. Sounds pretty easy. RV spots.
Yep.
They've increased from 24 to 88.
Right. In the past, and we have 24, and we added a new park a couple years ago, and that was 40 new sites. And then this year we added another 22. So we are right at, I believe, 88 sites this year. So with water and power hookups. So
That's my next question. So they're ready to go. Water and power.
they're ready to go. We have a pump out truck coming out throughout that week. So we'll be doing pump outs for anyone that, doesn't like that we don't have sewer, but we'll have pump out truck, get them taken care of. And then I probably got close to 40 on a dry camping list as well. So
do you have any openings? Or are they all taken?
for dry camping, but not for full hookup right now. I just go through my waiting list as people cancel,
Right.
and then just move them up. But right now, all we have is dry camping available.
Yeah. Are you over the food?
Yes. So Friday night, we got prime rib and pork loin, and then we got like potatoes and vegetables on the side. Saturday night, we are doing a sushi bar, and we're going to have a shrimp and grit station, pork tenderloin station, and barbecue. So figure we give everybody something different because I don't feel like you see a whole lot of sushi at tournaments. So we'll have a sushi bar set up.
Nice.
And then Sunday afternoon, we'll just have something for everyone to nibble on while they're waiting for results. So we'll have all that, but we'll have beer trailer all 3 nights as well. So we'll give people plenty to socialize over.
I see here in my notes it says open bar. Is that right?
Beer and wine, we will have plenty.
There we go. I know several people that'll take advantage of that for sure.
Right.
All right. You helped arrange the trappers for the week.
So with the help of Allison, I'll give her some credit too.
How did you two go about doing this? Because that's a big topic in this whole sport is trappers being an issue to get. How did you do that?
We, luckily for South Carolina, we have a big youth tournament that goes around. So we have to have 3 courses at all times for those events. So we used our existing lists and we went from there. We didn't do any advertising on social media or anything. We tried to pull from what we have originally. And so that way we get experienced trappers. They've done it multiple times. And then we go from there. And then we've tried to space it out where, if we do have new people, we'll have plenty of training meetings prior to the event. We've already got training days set up at the end of April, 1st of May. So we'll get them in, get them trained. And if they still aren't comfortable, they can sit with somebody on the first day, get comfortable with it. But we try to make it easy as possible with them because without them, that they make the event. So we want to make sure we get good quality trappers and that they are enjoying themselves. And we don't want them to work if they don't want to work. So we want to make sure we have someone there that makes it enjoyable for the shooters as well.
Yeah, without them, you can't have a shoot.
That's exactly right. They are the main part.
That's right. Thank you for coming on, and look forward to seeing you at the Open.
That sounds good. We'll see you then. Thank you.
All right, got William Joy on, a man from Back Woods that keeps up with the numbers. You're the numbers guy.
That's what I've been accused of doing, but sometimes it's kind of difficult around here.
I'd beat my head up against the wall if I had to keep up with everything you got to keep up with. What all do you have to keep up with?
Well, I mean, just for this event, this is a pretty big event, so I have kind of taken care of everything from figuring out exactly, how many of each trapper we're going to have, how many are being allocated to each course. And then, Rick decides it's not enough specialties on each event. So we have to order, 40 or 50 new traps from Promatic. And then once I have all that information, I can start breaking it down to figure out exactly how many targets we're going to need per machine. Split up some different colors on it. Each event's going to have, a minimum of 2 green machines, 2 black machines, and then a mixture of all orange or orange dome, like on all the mains. Figure up the number of specialties and end up with about 1.4 million targets.
That's how many you're ordering for the Open.
Yep. Ordered 1.4 million, 163 pallets coming on 8 tractor trailer loads.
Wow.
And I'm having them delivered to pretty close to each event on where they're going. So I got the loads split up so that we don't have everything coming to one location and then having to move everything to where it is. I'm going to stage them in 3 different areas so that they are close to their home and we have the right things there. And it saves us time and makes us more efficient.
That is crazy. I'm still thinking about the number of targets. That is crazy. So
yeah, it's a lot.
You also keep, you know how many bottles of water to order, don't you?
750 cases of water, 1,000 bags of ice. We're getting 2 miles of flagging and 500 flag stakes to hold the flagging up with. 400 signs between the flagging and the signs. If you can't figure out where you're going, you're going to be in pretty bad shape.
How many tents are you got coming? Do you know that?
I got 38 tents.
Look at there. I don't know if I can ask you a question you don't know.
Yep. 120 shooting stands, 137 gun racks, 82 umbrellas, 300 trash cans, 1,500 trash bags. We got it all.
That's crazy. I know Rick told me that he likes to have a budget presented to him, and it's always just a waste of time because everybody knows if he's gonna want to spend way more than what the budget says.
I pretty much quit that. I just don't even waste the time. It's not worth the hours put into it because he's going to spend what he feels is necessary to make the event as good as possible. We're not running water trucks. Rick didn't want those water trucks running around while the event's going on.
Tell me about that, William, real quick.
Dust control is calcium chloride. They come in and spray it. It absorbs moisture, out of the atmosphere, out of the humidity in the air, and keeps the dust down. We've tried it here before. I know it works. It works well for about 5 to 6 months. I don't see it getting the year that some claim, not in our environment, but it should make the shoot very good because we're going to put it down right before. That's a pretty considerable expense. That's about $20,000 worth.
Wow.
Just for that.
So you won't have any water trucks there?
Nope, we won't have any water trucks. We're going to spray all the rocked courses, with this dust control and parking lots. In the mornings, the cart paths will look wet in the morning where it's absorbed the dew, out of the air and held that moisture there just to keep the dust down.
I guess a lot of people don't do that just because of the expense of it.
Yeah, it's not financially feasible, but we don't exactly do things that way here, so we're going to have it.
Yeah. Well.
If you rented a couple of water trucks, you'd have to have at least 2 water trucks for this event. And so you'd be looking at, $6,000-$7,000 probably to rent 2 water trucks for that week. So, it is more expensive, but it's going to be a lot easier with this volume of shooters. Those water trucks trying to move around while people are getting to and from different events and people are shooting on the courses. It'll make it much more pleasurable for the shooter.
Well, sounds like you got everything under control.
We try to have some of it done.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot on your plate, buddy. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, pretty good bit, but it's not too bad. It's nothing we can't handle. Everybody here is looking forward to this event being, as good as we can make it.
Well, good. Well, I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me, telling me what you do, and I look forward to meeting you here at the Open in May.
Yep, we're going to be right here, and hopefully everything will be running smooth, and everybody will be in a good mood and cheerful.
There you go.
Because that's how we want the whole event to run.
That's right. Well, William, thank you, bud. I appreciate it, and we'll see you in May.
All right, and thank you.